Hi viewers and students, my name is Eugene and I'm currently a teacher for animation and graphic design courses here at a local university in Malaysia. This video is going to be about not fireworks. Well, it is about creating fireworks, but more importantly, it's about understanding how to use Trapcode particular and the tools that are involved in Trapcode particular. Okay, but we're going to use creating fireworks as a kind of a case study, all right, into how particles are generated in Trapcode particular. So in order to do this, you of course need to install your Trapcode plugin into After Effects. All right. Now, if you want this background that I have of the KL skyline to work with and do the exact same tutorial, you can of course go to my Facebook page and message me there, and I shall give you a link so that you can download the file and do the same project too. All right, but nonetheless, I guess you can just do a firework without the background as well. So this is what we are doing. All right, so if without your background, you'll probably do something like this. It's kind of a night sky and you can still see particles in practice anyway. Okay, all right, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to start the scene again. Let's kind of duplicate this whole scene. Let's not throw it away. I've duplicated this scene, and I'm going to switch on all the city skyline one again. I'm going to delete all of the fireworks, okay, and I'm going to lock all the layers so that we don't move it anywhere. All right, now to use Trapcode particular, which is found in your effects here under your Trapcode tab. Obviously, I can't use anything now because I've not selected anything, but to use Trapcode particular, you need a solid. All right, so how to create a solid in case you do not have one? Go to Layer, New, Solid. Does it matter what color solid you're using? No, because essentially a solid becomes like a dummy object for you to create the firework. So you could choose gray, pink, red, whatever. Just press, yeah, you can choose like a fluorescent green. Woo! And then put it there behind, okay, the sky. And then the next thing you would want to do is go to Trapcode, all right, and choose Trapcode particular. Now I know with the new bundles you have preset fireworks and stuff like that. Well, it's good to also always learn how to manipulate the very raw, rudimentary uh, particle generator so that you also know how those others are made. So with particular to create fireworks, first thing I'm going to do is go to the emitter. All right. I would want, yes, point. We would want a point because all fireworks do start from one point, and it should be uniform as well. Yeah. One thing I would want to change, I think basically emitter is fine, but oh no, it is not. We need to first keyframe the particles. All right, for a firework, you need to think, okay, how does a firework work? It would have a sudden blast of particles generated and spread out throughout the entire sky, correct? So let's keyframe that. All right, we do not know, let's say you do not know if 100 particles is enough or not. You just run it through and let it play on. Yeah, it's very little actually. Now, a firework would not continually generate particles. It would stop halfway. In fact, it would stop almost immediately. So in less than a second, in fact, I'm going to zoom in on the timeline right now. Drop it down. So my first keyframe, press U so that only that keyframe comes out for the particle. So over here, 100 particles is generated right over here. Okay. And in just a matter of probably half a couple of seconds or a couple of frames, actually, not even seconds, there would be no particles. So I'm going to make 0 here. So it's going to generate some particles, and then the particles will cease to be generated. Okay, and you can see those particles there. Now, obviously, from this 100 particles per second is not enough. Yeah, because not only is it lasting less than a second, it's only 100, so probably there would be about 10, 12 that would be generated. So I would really need to bump this up a lot if I want to see a good sizable firework. So I'm going to select this first keyframe and increase it to, say, 800. Let's give it a try. Okay, let's give it a try, and let's see. Let's have a play, and yeah, okay. So it's looking a lot better. Now this whole building is obstructing it, so let's move the center point of this firework somewhere else. So how do we do that? All you need to do is click on position XY, this little icon here, click that, and move it to here. So it's somewhere you can see where it's generated. 800 is not looking great. I really think we need to go by the thousands, so let's put 2500. And hopefully this gets the job done. Great. Yes, now we're talking it's a firework. Okay. All right, now the other thing I'm going to manipulate is the velocity. All right, I feel that it's moving rather slowly. If you want to see what the speed is, let's bring this playback head here and play it. Yeah, it is moving rather slowly. You do not want your fireworks to be moving that slowly. So you need to increase the velocity. So that's the next thing we're going to adjust in the emitter. The velocity, let's increase it a lot and make them random as well, where some particles move slower, some slightly faster, but not too much, because if you notice fireworks, you really need to, if you don't know how fireworks look like, then obviously please do Google or look for a YouTube video of fireworks and observe how the particles move. They do move at quite a constant speed for the most of them. All right, so let's have a look once again. Yeah, it's moving at a better speed. Now, the problem is, the next thing we want to adjust, let's go down slowly. Yeah? After the emitter, I think we're done. Let's collapse this particle, okay? How long do the particles usually last? I think about 4 to 5 seconds. If a firework explodes, I think they should last around, let's give it 6, okay? Because as they end, you notice that fireworks usually have this nice little flicker in the end, which I will teach you how to do afterwards. So I'm going to put 6 seconds, so they're going to last a bit longer on screen. I'm also going to randomize their size. Yeah, see, by randoming their size, some are smaller, some are larger. It looks a bit more natural also, looks more like a firework. And we're going to change the color as well. Now, how do you change the color? To start with a certain color, and when the particle reaches towards the end of its life at 6 seconds, it changes to a different color. What we do is we select set color over life. And when you do that, you'll notice that this gets activated. I'm going to repeat the step: at birth, over life. Once you do that, over life gets activated, and if you click down here, yeah, you get a bar of colors. What this means is the particles will start red, go to yellow, then gradually turn to green, light blue, and dark blue. So just have a look now. It starts red, becomes yellow, and then slowly turns to green, and eventually blue, but that's they are kind of floating out of the frame already, so you can't really see by the time they turn into a dark blue color. So now, we don't want that, because usually fireworks, they start off a different color. They start off something like this, but inverse. So they will start out with a bright color and usually end with white flickers. Alright? So this might be, and there's a very nice bright color that they will eventually achieve right at the apex around here. So let's have a look. So it should turn to blue, light blue, and then white eventually. Okay, but now you notice that there's a big issue that all these particles are moving through the air like there's no gravity at all and no air resistance. So now that's what we need to add. Okay, so we go down here to physics, gravity, and air. So one thing I really want to do is do the air resistance first. Okay, so I do not know what value to put in first, but let's just say I want the fireworks to stop around here. Okay, so I'm going to increase the air resistance some more, and okay, it's a bit too much. Let's release it some more. Yeah, so now you can notice the particles are going to get released. They will stop moving for 6 seconds before they start turning white and dying off. Now you can really see because they're all within the frame. All right. Okay, so what's the other thing we want to do is add gravity, because as the particles explode out in the air, they will also be affected by gravity and start getting pulled to the ground. All right, so that's going to add a bit, probably about 50. And let's have a look once again what we've done so far. All right, so it's not bad. The particles explode out and they fall gradually. Okay, so that's what I want. Yeah. All right, so now the other thing that's missing right now, it looks very weird. It looks like they just kind of increase in size and then they start to fall to the ground. It still doesn't look like a firework. A firework actually flickers towards the end. So what do we do? All right, we have to go back to the particle here and go to activate size over life. You'll notice this whole big red bar here. Actually, that's where you actually draw a graph. Okay, now a graph like this, there are also presets here, so you can click on this one. So what it says here is the particle, when it's born, it will increase in size, maximum size, and retain that size until towards the death it will start to decrease again. So let's just have a look at how that looks like. So the particles will increase in size, it will stay at the apex of its size for some time before decreasing towards the end of its life. All right, but fireworks don't do that. They start off really big and then they flicker. So how would their graph look like? It would look something like this. Okay, so they would increase and they would reach a maximum size and then they will start to flicker. So there's this jittering thing I'm doing with my Wacom pen tablet now and create this very toothy graph towards the end. So let's have a look at how this looks like right now. Okay, so they all appear, and as they kind of disintegrate, you'll notice the flicker starts happening. So it looks like a glimmer, a shimmer effect, and that's what I want. Okay, now I think the air resistance might be a little much, so I might reduce it a little bit more, probably to down to 2.0, and let's have a look if it explodes larger. Yeah, so I think it gives it a little bit more freedom. I think also probably let it start larger. Let the particles start larger and probably not so dark a blue because our sky is already blue. Let's brighten it up with a little bit of turquoise. Press OK. So it starts off with a bright color and then ends with a white as it dissipates. Okay, so I think I'm quite happy with this firework. One last touch. I'm going to go down here. There's this nice thing called spin amplitude. All right, when you increase it some more, you notice that they kind of move around slightly, and that's what I want because they might be disturbed by the air as the particles fall and as they collide with each other. So there's that kind of movement. Probably I'll put at 5 and see what happens. Probably not 5, 10. Okay, a lot of these settings are, you kind of need to test it out and see what happens. Yeah, if you find it a bit daunting, the best way to actually get familiarized with particular is to play around with the settings all. Okay, all right, so now let's play this and see if we've got what we want. All right, you can see they're kind of moving by themselves slightly, and then it's gone. All right, so it's very nice. Okay, I'm just wondering if they might be the whole fireworks might be a bit too long. Perhaps not 6. Perhaps I'm going to put them at 4 seconds and randomize their life so that some will last longer. All right, so some are disappearing off faster than others. Okay, I think this is good enough. Yeah, and now I'm happy with this firework already. What I'm going to do is I am going to replicate this. I'm not going to even do the whole same process again. Once you've done it once with all these settings and you're happy with your fireworks, if you want some more fireworks around the city skyline, all you need to do is select your lime green. You can call this blue firework, and then you can duplicate this. All right, and what you do is to shift it around, go to emitter, point XY, move it here, probably behind the KLCC, and then offset it so that you will have one explosion somewhere at 1 second, and then afterwards another one at 3 seconds. And you can even change the rotation by going to Y rotation and Z rotation, just to randomize it so it looks a bit different. Okay, and of course we did name it by color, so let's name this as orange firework. Okay. All right. The next thing I want to do is change the color. Go to particle, double click on this, and change the color to orange, the first one, and then probably to a nice bright orange on the second one. So let's see what you get. Okay. All right, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. And let's go on to the next one, another one. Let's give it another one towards the end. And then place it somewhere else, probably around here. And let's make it a lot larger. How do we do that? We can bring it closer to us at position Z. And the other thing is probably you can adjust it by allowing it to expand more by lessening the air resistance. Let's give it 1.5 so that it explodes bigger, because there are different type of fireworks, right? So let's rename this as yellow firework. Okay, and this now, make sure this is selected. Oops, sorry. Click on F3, all right, to get to the settings, to make sure we are adjusting the yellow one, not the orange one. So this is the yellow one, F3, okay, and let's change this first one, double click to yellow, and then to an even brighter yellow. Okay, so we've got 3 fireworks, boom, boom, boom. All right, good. Now, the next thing I want to show you is that we need a stream of particles heading up before it explodes. Okay, so that requires a different system, which means I would need another solid. So I'm just going to take the red solid, the gray solid, because the bright green one is just so bright. All right, now, again, effect, Trapcode, particular, and now this requires a little bit of animation. All right, so we know that there's particles going to end here, so let's keyframe that first. Okay, go to effect, or you can go here, sorry, particle, sorry, emitter. The emitter is going to be moving, right? So you're going to position XY, keyframe that, and then go back slightly. Yeah, this is where it explodes and where it ends, correct? So sorry, press U. Let's shift the keyframe here. Okay, so this is where it ends, right? That's the position where it ends. Position XY here. Drag the playback head back and have it go down. Okay, so another keyframe will be created. So what you get is a particle generator that is rising up into the air and then exploding. All right, now what we want to do is cut off the particles so that it does not continue to generate. So you need to keyframe this as well. Press U so that only that comes up, and press 0. I've moved the keyframe aside, all right, so that I can create another keyframe here. So it goes from 0 particles to no particles at all. All right. Now, you notice that as it shoots up, the particles are still rising to the top. You don't want that. So I'm going to remove the velocity from motion so that it does not trail like that, and see how it goes. Bam! So all of the particles kind of stay that way. Yeah, it doesn't continue to rise with motion due to inertia. All right, now I do not want the particles to move off. So the best thing I'm going to do is, let's try, okay, what we need to do is change the physics, the air, and give it some resistance so that it doesn't move out of the alignment of the path. So I'm going to increase the air resistance until it becomes almost like a line. I do not want it completely straight because that looks weird. Just probably a little bit loose so that it has a little bit of randomness going on. And then the next thing we want to do is randomize the size. Okay, randomize the size of the particles, and let's have a look. So it shoots up. Okay, now it's just weird that it's going to stay there like that. So obviously you need to also have gravity. Okay, so let's add some gravity so that it falls down as well and has some spin amplitude. Okay, so let's have a look once again. Yeah, a lot better. Now the life, we might want to reduce this to like 2 seconds, maybe even 1 second. Yeah, so it goes up, boom. Okay, but it disappears a little too fast. So what you might want to do is adjust again that size over life. We could probably do something like this and see what happens. So basically what this does, this graph that I just drawn with my mouse, it starts off big and it gradually goes down, the size. So it goes up, boom. Yeah, not bad, okay? Yeah, so the same kind of settings that I'm playing around with, okay? All right, so what we need to do we need to redo that whole bunch of stuff again? No need. So what you do is you replicate. So you just rename this as blue firework stream. Duplicate this and call this one the orange firework stream. All right. So, and move the orange one forward, of course, yeah, so that it would stop right at the point where the fireworks start. But of course, you have to move the position here, the XY position, so that it's going that side. I'm not sure if I want it to start from the same place. Probably we need to reposition the starting point as well, so that it looks like there's one coming out from here, and then they're shooting off another firework from another location, And the last one finally is Y, U, sorry, not Y. And then let's adjust this. Okay, the last one be there. Align it so that this is where the particles stop, right? So XY position, it will start from here. Oops, sorry. To remember, kind of, you can bring up the rulers and mark it out. That's where it starts. And then have the XY position move to there. So it's more accurate. Okay, so it goes. Alright, so we've got the rulers to thank for that. Alright, let's have a look at our entire sequence now. Alright, so we've got 3 fireworks, 1, 2, the orange one, and finally the yellow one as well. Okay, so you can change colors and you can even change colors and add colors to the stream, but right now I'm just using a white. I'm not quite sure if it has different colors. I think it does. Even the stream has a color, right? So yeah, you can play around with that as well. So I hope with this tutorial, it gives you a better understanding of how to actually manipulate the settings here. Yeah, of course you have a firework preset for you which you can play around with, but by doing this, you actually learn what all these complicated settings in particular is about. Okay, so that you're not stuck using the presets and it might make your work look slightly cheap because you don't know how to manipulate and customize your settings. Okay, so for more videos on motion graphics and Adobe After Effects or illustration methods using Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator, please click on the subscribe button and give this video a like if you find it useful. Also, do follow me on Instagram at eugenosaurus.fu for most of my illustration work. And also, I have a Facebook page, which, as I mentioned before, if you want this file to do this tutorial, go there and give me a message. Both links are in the description below. That's all for now. See you guys again. Bye. You might also be interested to check out the basics of After Effects video. Or you can simply move on to another cool Trapcode effect.